In the wake of the Jerez post-race test, a far more explosive narrative than the recent uncertainties surrounding Jack Miller has emerged, this time centered on Yamaha's spearhead, Fabio Quartararo. The Frenchman, often measured in his public remarks, delivered a statement that has sent ripples through the MotoGP paddock, not purely technical in nature, but deeply strategic, even existential. His words, 2027 will be a different story, carry a weight that extends well beyond casual reflection. For seasoned observers, it reads less like speculation and more like a coded declaration. The partnership between Quartararo and Yamaha Motor Company may already be approaching its final chapter, set to conclude at the end of 2026. Quartararo's phrasing was deliberate. He clearly separated his short-term commitment from his long-term outlook. I want to improve the bike for this year. Next year is another story, but 2027 will be different. For a rider of his caliber, once the benchmark of consistency and race-winning pace, this distinction is telling. It suggests he is fully committed to extracting maximum performance in the present, yet increasingly detached from Yamaha's long-term project, particularly with the incoming 850 cubic centimeters regulation overhaul in 2027. This is not the language of a rider embedded in a rebuilding vision. It is the tone of someone preparing for transition. Perhaps the most damning element of Quartararo's assessment lies in the raw numbers. At Spanish Grand Prix, the contrast between 2025 and 2026 is staggering. 2025, approximately 2 seconds behind the race winner. 2026, approximately 35 seconds behind Alex Marquez. In elite motorsport, such regression is not merely concerning, it is catastrophic. Rather than closing the gap, Yamaha appear to have lost ground at an alarming rate, particularly against the resurgent European manufacturers. For Quartararo, a rider who thrives on front-end confidence and precision, this widening deficit is more than a performance issue, it is a fundamental limitation. The Jerez test offered insight into Yamaha's current struggles and their lack of clear direction. Quartararo trialled multiple aerodynamic packages in pursuit of improved front-end feedback. Since late last season, he has repeatedly criticized the lack of feeling on corner entry, an issue that undermines his aggressive riding style. One configuration offered marginal gains, but nothing transformative. Interestingly, the Frenchman found greater comfort with less aggressive engine settings. Reduced performance yielded improved rideability, an indication that the M1 in its current form is difficult to exploit at full potential. This is a critical red flag. When a rider must sacrifice outright speed for control, the bike's balance is fundamentally flawed. Perhaps most frustratingly, the anticipated engine upgrade failed to materialize. In a championship defined by marginal gains, such delays are costly and deeply demoralizing for a rider already questioning the project's trajectory. Looking ahead to the French Grand Prix, Quartararo's outlook was strikingly blunt. When asked if he felt optimistic, his response was unequivocal: no. For a home hero, this level of pessimism is rare. It reflects not just dissatisfaction, but a growing resignation that meaningful progress is not imminent. With the 850 cubic centimeters era approaching, the entire MotoGP grid is preparing for a reset. For Quartararo, this represents both risk and opportunity. Rumors are already linking him with Honda Motor Company, a manufacturer undergoing its own aggressive rebuild. While Yamaha struggled to redefine their identity, Honda appear to be investing heavily in a long-term comeback, potentially offering Quartararo the different story he alluded to. What makes this situation particularly compelling is the contrast between Quartararo's professionalism and his apparent emotional distance. He remains committed to pushing the Yamaha M1 to its limits through 2026, determined to demonstrate his true level regardless of machinery. Yet beneath that professionalism lies a subtle shift in mindset. The language has changed. the belief appears to be fading. Quartararo's remarks should not be dismissed as frustration in the heat of the moment. They are structured, deliberate, and revealing. Yamaha's technical stagnation is no longer masked. The performance gap has reached critical levels, and their star rider is already speaking in terms of before and after 2027. In MotoGP, such signals rarely emerge without consequence. If Yamaha cannot deliver a decisive turnaround within the next 12 to 18 months, the paddock may soon witness one of the most significant rider movements of the modern era. And when 2027 arrives, it may indeed tell a very different story, just not one that includes Fabio Quartararo in Yamaha blue. The deeper concern for Yamaha is that Quartararo's dissatisfaction is no longer an isolated sentiment. It reflects a structural weakness within the project itself. Over the past 2 seasons, rivals have not only improved horsepower and aerodynamics, but have also mastered the delicate balance between stability and agility. Yamaha, by contrast, appear trapped in a development loop, addressing symptoms rather than root causes. For a rider as sensitive to front-end confidence as Fabio Quartararo, this stagnation is particularly damaging. Internally, the pressure on Yamaha Motor Company is intensifying. The manufacturer built its modern success around fluid corner speed and rider trust, yet both elements have eroded. Engineers now face a dilemma: pursue outright power to match European bikes or restore the balance that once made the M1 unique. Attempting both simultaneously has so far delivered neither, leaving Quartararo in a technical no-man's land. What makes this situation more complex is the evolving competitive landscape. Ducati's continued dominance, combined with the resurgence of KTM and Aprilia, has redefined the performance benchmark. In such an environment, even marginal deficits are brutally exposed. The 35-second gap seen at Spanish Grand Prix is not just a bad race, it is evidence of a widening philosophical divide between Yamaha and the rest of the grid. Quartararo's riding style, once perfectly suited to the Yamaha, now appears almost incompatible with it. His reliance on precision braking, lean angle confidence, and seamless corner exits is undermined by the bike's unpredictable front-end behavior. This mismatch forces him into compromises that blunt his natural strengths, effectively neutralizing one of MotoGP's most gifted talents. There is also a psychological dimension that cannot be ignored. Elite riders operate on confidence as much as capability, and repeated underperformance gradually erodes belief.